What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. Hey, I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live Morning Show Edition. And you know what? I know a lot of Lions fans are not feeling the best about things after the difficult defeat to the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'm going to be here to tell you this morning, wait, not so fast. I'm going to tell you that, hey, it may just be the Lions are getting some people back. And yes, this team might just be gearing up for a playoff run. We're going to break down who's coming back. We're going to give you some updates on some other people that could be out a little bit longer. And when we review the full schedule, I think all is not lost with this fan base. I get some people are feeling a certain way about things. There's nothing I can do about that. The only thing I can tell you is I am Captain Positive Pete. I am here to tell you the Lions are going to make the playoffs and just maybe make a trip to the Super Bowl. We're going to be breaking that all down for you today. Anthony from Roar Lions UK, if you are watching right now, the only thing I can tell you is I'm trying to get you a link, but at least on my screens, they're not allowing me to load Twitter for whatever reason. Keep getting hit with internal server error, so I'll keep working on that and trying to get it up during the show. What I can tell you is, oh, wait, there it is. It is loading now. So let me hold on while I'm talking to you guys. Let me send Anthony the link in case he can make it today. I don't know, but I'm having all sorts of issues with Twitter this morning. Maybe it's them, maybe it's me, that I don't know. And yeah, now they just pushed me back out. So maybe Twitter's having some sort of issues, or X. All right, before we get into the main topic of the day, before we get into the 5 headlines now, you probably know by now. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We'll just say roughly 70 subs away from hitting 15,700. If you can help out with that, man, I'll owe you a crisp, clean high five. Also, if you got a half second of time, it's free of charge. Won't cost you even a penny or a dime. Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button, that like button. Hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more. Thumbs up or likes. Last but most certainly, never least, if you are maybe in the holiday mood, maybe you're looking for something else to do. You don't want to, mess with cleaning your windows, cleaning out your gutters, hanging up those holiday lights, then go ahead and visit a couple of Do Crew members. Go ahead and visit www.customshinewindowcleaning.com or call Tom and McKenzie at 248-363-1911. They've been serving Greater Oakland County since 1997. Do phenomenal work, highly well-reviewed. Go ahead and give them a call. Show them some support. Hey, Do Crew helps Do Crew. With all that done, set out of the way, let's get this show moving forward. Rock and rolling. G.I. Joe going into, as you probably already knew, 5 headlines now. If I can find that button, which apparently has moved on my screen. All right, 5 headlines now coming at you. And then, yes, from time to time, I'll try to reload X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it nowadays. But, man, Anthony, if you're watching, if you have another way for me to get it to you, go ahead and send that over to me. For whatever reason, it's just not loading on my screen this morning. I keep getting hit with internal errors, and then it'll pop up momentarily, and then I try to click on stuff to send you, and just says, man, issue after issue after issue. So here's what it is. Hey, there's always issues with technologies. Without technology issues, though, let's get into the 5 headlines now. And as you can see here on your screen, are Lions quarterback Jared Goff's gloves evil? Well, that's a fair question a lot of Lions fans may be asking after last week's game. What we can say is we're going to take a look at every game Goff has worn them to show how dumb the idea is. This is coming from Mike Payton over to A to Z Sports. Mike Payton's done the research. We're going to go through his findings. At Cal, let's go back to Goff's freshman year at Cal, where he wore gloves, played in Colorado in November. Goff threw for 173 yards and an interception while completing 51% of his passes. So, obviously not a great idea. With the Rams, Goff wore gloves in the divisional round in the 2020 playoffs against the Packers. He was sharp in the game, even though he didn't produce much. Threw for 174 yards and a touchdown, completed 77.5% of his passes. No turnovers here. Pretty good amount, I'd say. He did pretty well there. For the Lions, he wore the gloves against the Packers in week 18 of 22. The game was not bad. He threw for 224 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 incompletions, 0 interceptions, while completing 68% of his passes. He was noticeably not very good in the first half of the game, played phenomenally in the second half of the game. 2 weeks earlier, he wore the gloves against the Panthers, threw for 355 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in this one. He did have 1 fumble, completed 60% of his passes. Against the Bears in week 14 of the 23 season, he threw for just 161 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. He also fumbled, completed a season-low 57% of his passes. In 2024, he wore the gloves against Chicago in December, threw for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, completed 72% of his passes in that particular game. Goff also had the gloves on in Lambeau in 2024, threw for 145 yards and a touchdown with no picks. He completed 82% of his passes in that win. Then on Sunday, he obviously did not have a very good day, throwing for 255 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception that really wasn't his fault as it was tipped in the air by the defensive line. He completed a career low 37.8% of his passes. But again, he was pressured on every throw and had essentially no time to do anything. The gloves had nothing to do with it. And of course, this is from Mike Payton's review, his findings. What are your guys' thoughts on it? You can see there's a mixed bag of stuff here. Whether you like it or not, I guess you can let me know your thoughts. There was one other game. Sorry, I missed it. Now go all the way back to 2016. Goff had a bad day against the Patriots. He threw for 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, had a fumble. He completed 44% of his passes, but that is also when he was a rookie. So, all right, let me know your thoughts. I know some people aren't fans of the gloves. Well, now you have at least some information to review his career with the gloves on, off, etc. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Major Detroit Lions, Major Dan Campbell questions emerge after ugly loss to Eagles. Sideline report by Candace Perez of Sideline Report. So, hey, here's what you can say. There are a whole lot of people that think Dan Campbell has some of the biggest onions on planet Earth. We can also say there are a whole lot of people that aren't exactly fans that the Detroit Lions head coach was gambling Dan so much last Sunday. Things didn't go the Lions' way by any stretch of the imagination when it came down to 4th down conversions. Why that is, I don't know. But we can all probably agree the Lions did not have a great showing. Dan Campbell may have gotten his own way from time to time. I guess we can go from there. Dan Campbell, we all get it. He is gambling man Dan. 0 for 5 on 4th downs. The fake punt's probably the biggest one that jumps out to me. You look at it from a schematic standpoint, the Eagles more or less have their starting defense out there playing special teams. They were aware this could be a situation. The Lions go for it. And the Lions never audibled out of it. The fact that they were stubborn and just said, hey, we're going to go for it anyways. I mean, you saw the result of the play. The Lions didn't even get a half a yard on the play. Make of it as your own devices. The Dew crew that were watching it on the live stream, more or less, we're all saying the same thing. In a game where the weather is clearly impacting both quarterbacks, both offenses to a degree, you just could see where, man, field position was king, punting it here and there. You've got one of the greatest punters in the NFL, maybe even in NFL history. Why don't you throw it? Why don't you go for it? I don't know, but what we do all know now is the Lions, they found themselves on the wrong side of a whole lot of those attempts. There are a whole lot of people across the national media, not just YouTube media, kind of going after Dan Campbell saying, hey, while he's done a ton of good things for this organization, he has led the turnaround for the Lions organization. We can also agree that Sunday was not his best showing, as a head coach, offense coordinator, whatever metrics you want to say, Dan Campbell, in my opinion, maybe some of your guys' opinion too, has to learn sometimes rolling the dice isn't always a great idea. You can actually impact your team. You go back and play out the totality of the game. Hindsight's always 20/20. I understand that. But you take a couple field goals here and there, or at least a couple field goal attempts. I guess in that weather, that wind, there's no guarantees you make them. But unless you have zero faith in your field goal kicker, keep the game score, put pressure on the other team, let the other team get pressured into some mistakes. Your defense is playing off the charts good. I understand the past, maybe like last year especially, the Lions defense was shot. There was just nobody left to play. Maybe out of just the the fact that you don't have a defense, you have to go for it, and it did work for the Lions last year. But the offensive line is different. The defense is different this year. The Lions have one of the top 10 defenses in the NFL. In my opinion, it's about to get even better with what we'll talk about during the main topic of the day. All right, speaking of injuries, talk about a segue from one topic to the next. Detroit Lions injury updates read Joseph Rodriguez. Detroit Lions on its side by John Macaron with this one. Talk about getting people back the right place, the right time. Well, the Lions are going to probably have some people back here. This is a quote from Dan Campbell. DJ Reed looks pretty positive here, said Campbell. Well, we're going to see him a week of work here and see. We'll see where he's at. Obviously, Davenport's getting better. Probably going to start Kalia Dorsey's clock this week. Malcolm Rodriguez, is looking better. He's getting better every day. So going through it all, and yes, we'll have to break these down one at a time. Rodriguez is going to be back, if not this week, how about this, right after the Green Bay game. I do anticipate Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed are going to play this week and then play, assuming nothing bad happens, against the Green Bay Packers. I personally love the fact they're coming back on the field and getting a game to kind of work off some of the rust, get ready for things, get back before. We all get it. You win this game, you win against Green Bay, you're probably going to beat the, no disrespect to the Dallas Cowboys, but you're probably going to beat them. That 3-game winning streak gives you 9 wins, 9-4. You're starting to look at the schedule this season a whole lot different. Beyond that, I know he's the answer to every joke question about the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes when it comes to signing free agents. Marcus Davenport, I don't know if he's going to be a starter again, but I do think he could be a pretty good rotational piece. We talked about it last week. Miles Frazier returning from injury, the impact he's making. You heard from the kid's own mouth. He felt like he needed a week or two to kind of get back up to speed. You know what? This is week 2. I think he's going to impact the team sooner versus later. Lions have a laundry list of other people also returning. We all know Josh Pascal. Whether or not he's going to be an impact player, I know he's going to be a heck of a rotational piece, and especially going down the home stretch this season, trying to get in the playoffs, trying to make a run in the playoffs, having rotational pieces to keep the wear, the fatigue, the injuries at bay. I think that's a big win for the Lions. And yes, I do think Pascal is going to bring some stuff to the table. Beyond that, we'll have to go to the next of the headlines and probably dive in a little bit more to some of these topics. So without further ado, Lions, Sam LaPorta, injury draws cryptic outlook from Dan Campbell. Story by Rebel Ravis. I'm going to kill that name. Clutch points. We went on air, I want to say it was 2 weeks ago. Was it a week ago? I don't know. Whatever it was. When the injury first popped up with Sam LaPorta. And let me tell you, I know I mentioned this sometimes from time to time with different topics. When you're the first one out of the gate to report stuff, man, I get blown up with so many things in the comments section or people sending me texts, messages, whatever, saying, that's clickbait. And then, 2 or 3 days later, what do you know? Every once in a while, I get something right. I don't get everything wrong. And it does sound like we're pretty spot on with this one. Everybody I've talked to, and I'm just going to summarize this story. I'm not going to actually go into the clutch points story. They're just saying, hey, we don't know when, Sam LaPorta is going to be back. I did reach out last night to my friends in Lions media, and here's what they say. They don't know if he's going to be back this year. It's whatever's going on with the back is a real big problem. What I've heard from multiple different people is he's pulled some real big ligaments there, maybe even some level of nerve situation or injury in the lower back. If that holds water, Sam LaPorta is going to be out for a while because you don't want to mess up that back. He's too good a player, and you don't want to do that to any player, whether they're good, bad, and different. That's going to take some time to heal. Now, could he be back this year? Absolutely. My guess is starting to be more and more. It's not going to be 4 weeks. It's going to be 6 to 7 weeks, which obviously you guys can do the math. That puts you towards the end of the season. I do think his absence Sunday really impacted what the Philadelphia Eagles defense could and could not do real quick off the bat. You don't have somebody to make those linebackers drop a couple more steps. If you make them drop a few more steps, it does have impact in the running game, the line, the pass blocking. Sam LaPorta, you're going to have to also figure out rewatching that game, watching what they asked Brock Wright to do. Brock Wright is not Sam LaPorta. You cannot just plug and play and say, hey, Brock Wright, you be Sam LaPorta, run the same routes, do the same duties. Every player is different. I can't ask somebody else to be Michael Jordan because you know what? They're not Michael Jordan. And I get some of you guys will or will not get that reference. The Lions are going to have to spend some time deep diving how to get better results for whoever they're going to play at the tight end spot and not just say, do the tight end spot like you were Sam LaPorta. We'll dive into that another time. I think you guys get the point. Sam LaPorta's injury, hopefully it heals up faster. He's going to get every bit of medical additional support that the Ford family, the Lions can give him. I don't think it's like a career ender or anything like that, but I also think somebody who's ever had a knee situation, let alone a back situation, you can't play really any sport if your back is giving out. It's going to be tough. It's going to be debilitating. He's got to spend time and get fully right on this. Could probably make a little bit bigger episode of Lions Talk Live about it. I'll reach out to some people and try to get a bigger update for you guys later today. All right, last of 5 headlines out. Lions fans are irate about offensive struggles, bonehead mistakes. Detroit Lions on SI, Christian Borrow with this one. And he's not wrong. How do I know when the season ends for the Detroit Lions and it's a playoff loss? Because I get lit up by messages or people unsubscribing or people throwing, oh, I knew it, same old Lions, this, that, and the other thing. Let me tell you, if your metrics for a Lions fan is that you got to win 17 times a year, plus all the times in the playoffs in order to be happy, you're probably going to be disappointed. I don't care what team you represent. You are going to lose games. And only one team is going to end their season with a victory. That's going to be the Super Bowl champs. Christian Borrow is not wrong. The Lions irate fandom is at maybe, I won't say an all-time high, but it's pretty high right now because so many people, I get it. We all watched that game. We stayed up late. We didn't work on any sleep the next day. But you know what? The Lions lost. And we as a fan base are incredibly passionate about our Detroit Lions. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But you also have to try to be, at least I would suggest for you guys, you have to be somewhat realistic that, hey, you are going to lose a game or two. Yes, the Lions are beat up. And yes, they, to a certain degree, they beat themselves on Sunday night. We could all agree with that. Whether you want to say it's Goff's performance, the offensive line's performance, MCDC's performance, whether you want to say it's New York not calling in to say, hey, that ain't a pass interference, I don't know. What's his name? Rich Eisen had a piece on the refereeing stuff. He even said for him, that was clearly pass interference. In fact, it was offensive pass interference. I get all that. I also get what Rich Eisen said, like every coach would say, play good enough before all that to where that play doesn't matter. And that's something the Lions are going to have to do. Us as fans are going to have to do. We are going to lose another game more than likely this season. Hopefully not in the playoffs. But as a fan, take a deep breath. It's not the end of the day. Doing the live cast, I can say, man, there are a whole lot of people. That first drive, that second drive, if things didn't go our way, you could just feel the anxiety oozing out of people. Some of the comments they were throwing out there. The games aren't won or lost on one play, and you're going to have to support your team. I can't tell you how to be a fan. Here's what I can tell you. You are going to probably pull all your hair out if every play is life-threatening to you. The Lions are going to make some comebacks. They're going to lose some games. I got good news, though, for you, though. I think the rest of the season is going to be pretty good for the Detroit Lions. And you know what? That may just be a part of the main topic of the day. So 1, 2, 3. See how I segue from this topic into the next topic? Let's go over and get into the main topic of the day. All right, Anthony, if you are watching, it is allowing me to send you the link now on Twitter, X, whatever it is. So whether or not it's actually going through that, I don't know, but I'm assuming this means Twitter is having some issues. So I'll have to look into it later, but not much I can do while I'm live on air. I did send out a link. Hopefully you're able to receive it. It's just, hey, it's all best guess for me at this point. All right, let's get some positive news because, you know what, I'd rather be positive about life than negative about life, but I am being positive here when I say I think the Lions are about ready to go on a big run here. I think the Lions are going to have a big run and get us in the playoffs. Whether or not they win the NFC North, man, a whole lot of factors going to go into play with that. And I know I pulled up the schedule probably way too much for some of you guys, but let's break this all down. I'm not Dan O'Damas, of course, but he did tell me his bold prediction for each of these games. Let's start with this weekend's contest. Hey, I think it's the last 1 o'clock game we have on the schedule, at least until we find out about the Chicago Bears game. But I do anticipate that will be a primetime game. All right, New York, I think the Lions are going to win. You guys all saw the lines from Vegas on it. I think it's something like 10 gajillion points they're expecting the Lions to win by. I do think the Lions are going to win this one. Good news, I'm hoping for that fourth quarter that, you know what, anybody of worth, if we want them out of that game, we can get them out of the game, rest them up, and we're at home. You know what, Green Bay, I think, is going to have a battle with the Vikings, and the longer that game goes, good for them. I think, hey, you got to travel here too. You've got every advantage you could ask for going into that Thanksgiving Day game. You got to handle the New York Giants first. I think we're going to, and then I do think we're going to handle the Green Bay Packers. Then we get to turn around 1 week later and play on Thursday Night Football. You get 7 days off, so does the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, they get to come here. I'll take it. Their offense has been actually pretty good this year. Their defense, not so much. And that's where I think the Lions can really take advantage here and get out and get after them. I have already begun starting to break down the Rams game, assuming both teams stay healthy, get into that game. We all get it. It's going to be probably the toughest game after Green Bay on the schedule. Not that every game can't be tough, but as far as you look at the overall talent on a team, that's going to be a tough one. I do think the Lions are going to win New York, Green Bay, and then the Cowboys. I do question whether they can go into L.A. and win there. Hey, at some point, Sean McVay is going to be on the right side of that scoreboard, and this might be the week. I'm not predicting the Lions will win. Not predicting they'll lose. I'm just saying it right now, it's incomplete. How about that? Going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think the Lions are going to win that one by a lot of points, just for a totality of reasons. Their offense, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, isn't very good. Aaron Rodgers, his arm strength ain't what it used to be. His mobility is not what it used to be. And watching his last several games, I don't even know if he'll play this game, in particular against Pittsburgh Steelers, but you can see he's gotten to a point where that body's starting to give out on him, and he no longer wants to get hit. That's a tough ask for a quarterback. And their offensive line isn't bad. It's not great. He's going to take hits in that game. I don't know if he can throw the hot read like he used to. I think the Lions win that one probably by 14 to 17 points. And we all know we got the rematch with the Minnesota Vikings. Lions didn't play good in that first one, and hey, what a good Christmas present. I got good news for all Lions fans. Lions are going to win this one by 17 points, maybe more. J.J. McCarthy is struggling. He's taking some shots. I think there's a real chance he's not even the quarterback by this game because he's going to get beat up. The Minnesota Vikings need to play him in every game they can because they need to go in this offseason and say, hey, do we have something here or not? He's had some moments where he's looked pretty good. He's had some moments where he's looked like a rookie. And that's, I still consider this his rookie season. So take it for what it's worth. I think they're going to play him every game we can. And if you have tinfoil on your head, if you believe the NFL sets up scripts and you think the NFL does everything they can to make sure each game down the stretch is as meaningful and easy to market as possible, then you know what? If you're the NFL, you're looking at this regular season finale and say, hey, it's for all the marbles, Mean Gene Oakland. Somebody go ahead and cue the NFL Films music in the background. No, I can't play it because they'll drop the hammer on me for licensing. But I can tell you, the NFL's got a great script here. Former offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears in the in the Windy City. How about all that? Hosting the Detroit Lions. Winner gets the playoffs, owns the NFC North, whatever metrics they may be at that point. Here's what we know. You couldn't have asked for a better script if you're the NFL. I do think the Lions go in there and win. The reasons why, I think both teams are going to struggle with the passing game. I do anticipate the weather's going to be a factor. I say that it'll probably be 80 degrees, right? But you guys get it. The weather's going to limit both teams. Whether or not Goff has a glove on, I don't know. But I can tell you this. Caleb Williams also doesn't do well in cold weather. Maybe he changes between here and now. The Lions, I also think this year we've relied on a lot of younger players to fill key roles. You know what? You get to that point in the season, they're no longer rookies. They've earned their stripes. I also think you get 7 more games in, 7 more games for this new regime on the offensive side of the ball, MCDC, John Morton, whoever else you want to say, Scotty Montgomery, to figure things out with the offense. They're going to be as good as they can be going into that game. They will have matured as much as you can. I do think the Lions win that game. I think it's going to be a whole lot closer than the first game, but I do think the Lions win out. If I'm right with the math there, let me bring this back up, then you know what? You've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins. 6 wins puts you at 12. At the start of the year, looking at all the things we lost on the offensive line, looking at all the things we lost as far as coaching staff, and you look at the schedule. We all talked about it as soon as the schedule was released. Man, that's a tough schedule. It is a tough schedule. But if you get to 12 wins, win the North, make the playoffs, how are you feeling about this team? I'm feeling pretty good about it. Now, we're getting to the injured stuff. And man, I'm going on way too long here. Apologies, guys. But I do think Kirby Joseph, we did get some good news on him. I'm waiting for a couple other people to confirm it. Hopefully, I have that later today. If I do get it later today, I'll get it over to you guys. I did check in on Sam LaPorta again. More than likely, I'll have something for you guys later today once I find out some more results. But long story short, with Kirby Joseph, I think the chances that he avoids surgery are going up. And that's a good thing, because if he goes under the knife, he's not coming back until late December. With some of the other guys, I do think, talking to people, there's a real chance Miles Frazier gets into that starting offensive line. I don't know if it's going to be this week, next week, 3 weeks from now, anything like that. But all the different reports about this young man is he is owning a lot of people. The Lions defense, we can probably all agree, especially that front seven, has looked dang good this season. Not just the linebackers, not just the secondary, which has been a mass unit, but that defensive line. If you can name another team in NFL history that has gone allowed a 0-for-5 performance against the tush push, I don't know it. If you guys know it, let me know. But the fact that the Detroit Lions defensive line did that Sunday, that's a big thing. And I shouldn't just say the defensive line, the defense, because it was a multitude of people. I think the Lions are setting up to make a bit of a run here. It's got to start with that offensive line, in my opinion. Getting all these injured people back, Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed, I mean, I can go through a long list here, just makes this team stronger. And it may just be the strongest team the Lions have had. Even though last year's record will end up being better, it may just be the best Lions team we've seen in a long time, assuming that offensive line does get fixed up a bit. All right, I've rambled on for way too long with all this. Let's go ahead and get over to you guys. I don't know if Anthony got the link or not. I show it went out, but I'm guessing this means Twitter, X, whatever, is having some issues. So I've done all I can to help out. All right, let me scroll to the top of the screen. Obviously, this is going to take me a minute because there's like 4 billion comments in the comments section. All right, I'm still scrolling. I'm still trying to make my way. And here we go. Michael D. Greatest salutations, Dan and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. What pride? Woo! Hey, real quick, if you guys haven't guessed what the Lions regular season final record will be, throw it in the comments section. I think we're going to get 11, 12 wins. And I would be banking probably closer to 12. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time. Be a Lions fan. Woo! Always a pleasure to see you. Bobo, good morning, Duke Crew. Timing is everything. You're not wrong with that, with an exclamation point and a woo. Detroit Mac, good morning, Duke Crew. Want to give a woo for Reed Rodrigo potentially playing this week and Dorsey's window opening as well. And another woo for the Pistons' 10-game winning streak. First one since 2008. Yeah, they've been on fire. Detroit sports are back. From the Pistons to the Red Wings to the Lions, and to the Tigers, they're all just playing well, aren't they? Let's see, Trey. What's good, everybody? Does anyone else think we should put Frazier into the offensive line as a guard or maybe a center? Question. Love all Graham has done for the team, but I feel he's getting owned. Last week was not his best week against the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's a tough ask because their defensive line is mammothly sized. The fact that both of their defensive tackles are that big, tall, poundage, muscular, and athletic, it's tough for a whole lot of people. They're going to make a whole lot of offensive lines look silly. In regards to your question about having him play guard or center, the easy answer for me would be yes, but I don't know which spot because I haven't seen him play center at the NFL level, to be fair. If he could come in and play center, that would be a big win for us because I do think Yodi, well, I get his Pro Football Focus grades weren't great last week. If you had to ask me who was the best offensive lineman against the Philadelphia Eagles, it might be Yodi last week, and I get you as a backup. A lot of the other ones, Penei Sewell did not have a good game. Taylor Decker had, I'd actually say, a pretty good game. Ratledge looked like a rookie out there. You guys all get it from there. But guess who is joining us? So I'm guessing he did get the link. So that's good. Let's right now go over to our special guest of the day. You know him, you love him. He's the guy from the other side of the pond. He kind of looks like Jason Statham. Let's go get to Anthony from the Roar Lions UK. Anthony, how you doing this fine day?
Oh, I'm doing great, Dan. Winter has descended here on the UK. It's absolutely Baltic outside. You can probably see my breath as I'm breathing right now, but it's the time of year I love the most. So I'm doing well, just trying to forget about the weekend.
So let's start with last Sunday. Where do you think the Lions went wrong the most during the Philadelphia Eagles game?
I mean, it's very clearly it was on offense they went wrong. They just went in with completely the wrong mindset. You know, the play calling was not varied enough for a defense of the Eagles' caliber. It was predictable. It was a bit basic in sometimes, and they just kind of ate it up. It's kind of the same as what we did against the Vikings. We played a lot of short passes. We played right into the Vikings' hands. They love to come up and pressure you and make mistakes, and they did. And against the Eagles, we were just trying to run it up the gut all the time, like against their two mammoth defensive tackles. They're really good linebacking core who can defend against the run. The few times that we got creative, we started airing the ball out a little bit. We started calling up the play calling with the two drives where we went down the field, the one we got a touchdown on. And like the recipe was there, but then we kept trying to go back to what we do best. And then we're just playing back into their hands again. So, you know, execution was poor. You know, Goff was poor. Like, everything was just poor. You could label it as just a really bad day at the office where everything goes wrong. But, yeah, it was offensively that it went completely wrong the other day.
You look at the Lions' offensive line, because I think most of us get it. It's not what it has been the last several years. Lions, Goff, the MCDC fans, we've all been fairly spoiled by an elite offensive line. Right now, in your opinion, how good or bad is the Detroit Lions O-line?
It's trying to figure itself out. It's got an entire new interior in terms of guys playing at different positions. It's tough, and that's what you're finding out at this moment in time. Ratledge had his welcome to the NFL moment this week, but you know, I thought the Eagles had a very good game plan. Obviously, you put Jalen Phillips on Penei Sewell. Phillips kept Sewell wrapped up pretty much all game, meaning Sewell's not able to help out Ratledge, give him protection, you know, double up with him. And they exposed the young rookie and they went over him. But again, it's two of the best D tackles in the NFL. So there are problems with the offensive line. I just think the Eagles schemed incredibly well on the defensive line to create those matchups to exploit our weaknesses. Because in Ratledge's case, I think we've done really well with him this year. Him and Penei have been really good on the right-hand side of the line. There's been a bright spark on there. But the Eagles just coached superbly in this game. But obviously, it's going to be a problem until we get a proper center in now. We are discovering, you know, after years of having Frank and having everything, you know, Taylor done for him. He's one of the best in the league. A lot of the problems you're seeing are coming from the center position. It's why you've got to have a proper college center at center in the NFL. None of this moving guys who've never played there or anything before. It is a very tough position. Very skilled. Most of the best teams in the NFL have a collegiate-based center who is good at his job. And, you know, just the little bits to do with the communication, finding some of the protections, pointing out the blitzing, stuff like that. Glasgow is not as good at it because it's not his natural position. Right. And when you've got two rookies or backups playing in there as well, you've got to have great leadership from the top to give them the best chance possible, and we don't. So, you know, we're just having to work within our limitations at the moment on there. It can still be good on its day, but we're not really built to work from behind because of all the pressure that comes on with it. If you can get in front, it's a bit easier. But yeah, we're just going to have to ride it out this year until we can get a proper center on the team.
Do you think there's any way Miles Frazier could potentially come in and help the offensive line? Because I know that's something that's come up in the last week or two. I get he's the unknown quantity. I get he's a big physical dude, but do you think do you think there's any chance he could work his way into the lineup in some capacity?
I mean, I don't know where you put him because the right guard's filled with Ratledge, and then your left guard, I think Awashika's been playing just fine there. I think he's a good backup level player, and to just put a rookie in at left guard, I don't think it really does much. Plus, he's not played football in a long time now. You know, you're going back a year since he's last played anything. So to just try and plug and play him in at left guard is a bit folly for now. So I don't know I don't see his position. He's never played center before. I'm not putting him in there. Again, it's just stupid. You know, PFF, when they graded centers in the league this year, starting centers, There was one guy in the top 16 who had never played center before. That's Froholt at Arizona. The rest of them have. And there's a reason why the best centers in the league have played there in college. And there's a reason why you don't really switch guys from guard to center and it work successfully in this league. So I don't want Frazier at center. Not even close to it. Never played there. Play him at guard spot. You got to put him in there, put him at left guard. But I don't think he's the answer to your problems. People wanting these 6th-round rookies who've been hurt to just come in and immediately assume a place of importance in this team. I think it's unfair on the player, and I think it's just unfair in general because you're asking a lot of them, and I just think you're asking unrealistic expectations of them right now. Frazier should be a next year thing at this point now. If you can get him a bit of game time this year in some, blowout wins or something like that, fine. But outside of that, no, not really.
Let's talk about Sam LaPorta because I know we talked about it a week or so ago when the news first came out that he's got a lower back situation. I guess you could have some debates what it is. I'm hearing it's ligaments in his lower back and a pinched nerve or a compressed nerve. If he's going to be out for a while, what do the Lions do to try to handle that tight end spot?
Just find a way. You just find a way to keep going forward. You get Brock Wright more involved in the game. At the end of the day, people are saying, "Oh, we missed Sam the other day against the Eagles," but he's the only player we're really missing. Who else are we missing on the offense? Mahogany is a rookie left guard. Who else are you really missing on this offense? Nobody. It's as full strength pretty much as it's going to get. If your offense is going to fall to bits because of one tight end, that's a really bad indictment on the team and how it's built. I mean, you should be able to deal without them. Look at the 49ers. They've not had George Kittle for ages. Then Josh Tongs, whoever the hell he is, just comes in and provides a very good backup in relief for them whilst Kittle is out hurt. You use Brock Wright the same. Now, obviously, Brock Wright's not played a ton of football as a starter because he's played behind Sam. So it's going to take him some time to warm up properly. He's going to be doing more route running instead of blocking, and you just need to get him up. So Dan has faith in Brock Wright. I have faith in Brock Wright. He's had some good games. He's just going to take a few games to get up to speed, to take more of Sam's place in the system. But, if it is a case of we just can't work without Sam, then that's just a badly built offense. And I don't believe that's the case. I believe we've got a very good offense that's just trying to work around a rebuilding offensive line. So, yeah, just run with Brock Wright and wait for him to come good. And I think he will.
You look at the Lions defense, and we were all very impressed with what they did against Philadelphia. At least I think most of us were. It would have seemed this weekend, Terrion Arnold, maybe DJ Reed are going to be back. There's some potential, obviously, Pascal, I guess Rodrigo, Davenport could all be back. When these guys come back, just how good is this Detroit Lions D?
I mean, I think it's disingenuous to the people who've been here while they've been hurt. I think the Detroit Lions defense has been amazing recently. And, saying that we're going to get these reinforcements back and it's going to be better is insulting to the guys who've been in this team and who've done absolutely great. I mean, what are we going to get from Pascal and Davenport? They're both sick notes. They're both going to play a game or two and they're going to get hurt again. We've got guys like Al-Qadim Mohammed who've come in, who've been consistent, who've been healthy, who's helped Hutch on the other side. That's great. Obviously, having DJ back's going to be big and Terrion's going to be back, but Rock Your Sins stood up. You've had Thomas at safety, who's been great. You've had all these guys who sort of come in, played really well. And, that Eagles game, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen from a Lions unit before. Bearing in mind personnel, who they're missing, bearing in mind all the short fields they got given, bearing in mind the level of opposition they were playing against. Like, this Lions unit is it's coached superbly. And it's playing at the top of its powers right now. So when you're like, oh, yeah, we've got loads of people coming back to help, but yeah, it's on the side of the ball that's already playing the best football it can do. The one unit that's not playing good football right now, the offense, is not slated to really get anybody back anytime soon. This is not an injury thing that's holding this team back. It is the offense trying to figure out its identity, and special teams has been rubbish as well. I think Khalil Dorsey's coming back this week, so it'll be great to get him back in that unit. But I think this is more on coaching, on special teams and offense, trying to get them back up rather than waiting for the players who've been off. Because quite frankly, as I say, I think the players on defense who've been here have performed brilliantly. And, it's going to be really tough for some of these guys when they come back to get their spot back in this team again, especially the defensive linemen. they can all sit as far as I'm concerned while these guys carry on doing what they're doing. So, yeah.
So let's talk about that defense a little bit more, if you don't mind, because do you think Dan Campbell gambled so much on Sunday night because he had so much faith in the Lions defense?
I mean, you do. I mean, it's one thing we were stopping them again and again, but I think, I do agree with the overall policy of the aggression because you're in Philly. You've got to be aggressive to go win football games in Philly because their defense is dangerous. They've got, with our game in there now, they've won, 8 games this year? They've won 7 games by a score or less. And it's noticeable their defense goes clamps in the second half. It's one of the best second half. It's probably the best second half defense in football. It's amazing. The Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers, us, they've nullified everybody in the second half of games, and they've adapted a way to play against every single offense. They've figured everybody out. So I think you do have to show a certain cause of aggression there, and you do have to try and get points against them because, it's tough. And they don't give up many points, and you need to win. You don't know what the Eagles' offense is going to do. The Eagles' offense is so talented; it can always break one off on you and make that big play, which it did. The touchdown immediately after we got our touchdown, they just pulled something. I pulled a rabbit out the hat. I agree with the aggression because you've got to keep going for it. Plus, the conditions were not ideal either to be kicking in, but I don't mind it. Goff was just really poor at executing the plays, which was a shame. He had a really bad day because there were 2 or 3 of those that were bang on open for him, and he didn't hit them. So, no, I don't mind about Dan's aggression at all, really.
When you look at Goff, I know a whole lot of people noticed that he did not have a great game. Do you think the gloves had anything to do with it? Because I know there are a lot of fans that, hey, burn the gloves. Do you think the gloves are a factor, not a factor? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I really don't know, but that's something I am not qualified to talk on. I don't know how much the gloves impact or how much the gloves don't impact. You'd only be able to ask Jared that one. But for me, he's nervous at the moment. Overall, there's just so many places. There were clean pockets he had where he was just throwing at receivers' feet. He's throwing to their knees. He had J-Mo open on one. And everyone said, oh, it's J-Mo's fault. He dropped it. But he fires an absolute laser down at J-Mo's knees when J-Mo's in full speed coming across field. You need to put it in front of him so he can catch it. He's got to stop and try and catch the damn thing at his knees. And it's been absolutely lasered in at him. Why are you putting so much juice on it? You're not under pressure on that throw. And there were some throws that just didn't have the juice on them. They were falling short. I don't think it's out to do with the gloves. I think it's up here. He was acting spooked when he shouldn't have been acting spooked. He only got sacked twice in the game. He's been sacked like 6-7 times in some games this year. He did have some pressure on him, no doubt, but the throws were just, I don't think it's the gloves. I think it was up here. He got spooked a little bit when he necessarily shouldn't have been. That was his problem the other day.
When you look at the Lions here, let me pull it up. When you look at the remaining schedule for this team, and I get the comment section is going to block it off somewhat, but how many games do you think the Lions need to win out of this final stretch in order to secure a playoff spot?
I think 10 wins gets you in. It depends on what the Packers and you've got to win your games against the Packers and the Bears because you've got to stop them accumulating wins.
Correct.
Somewhere along the way. But I think 10 will get you in. The Giants is not going to be easy because their one strength is that defensive line. That defensive line has the ability to take the game away from you and to really disrupt what you're doing. So I expect them to win, but it's still going to be tough. And this is a mentality thing now with the Lions. You've lost 3 of your last 5 games. You've not been good consistently for way over a month now. So the pressure's going to be on them because the more they lose, the more pressure because they've got to get back to the Super Bowl. And I think this pressure's starting to tell on them a little bit. But then after that, you're playing Green Bay. Green Bay are cheeks. But again, what do they have? They have a wonderful defensive line. And Grant Halfley absolutely figured us out last time. He shut us down once this year already. So he has the ability to put the absolute clamps on our offense, and you've got to get better against that. Then you're playing the Rams. The Rams look like one of the best teams in the NFL right now. They've also got a fearsome defensive line, but they've got they got a backfield packed full of ball hawks as well. So if they're pressuring and Goff's making errant throws, you get picked off. It's tough. I think you get to 10 wins from now. I take 10-7 at this. As I said at the start of the season, I don't give a damn about the regular season as long as you make it to the playoffs. If all this bad football we're seeing now and this growth that we're seeing, which is a little bit painful, means that we're in a better position come the playoffs and we pay our better football in the playoffs, then fine. We're going to remember a 10-7 season where we make the divisional or the NFC Championship game over a 15-2 season where we get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, right? It's all about what you do in January football. So I don't care where they come from, just get there. I think we will I don't know if we'll win the NFC North this year, but to be honest, I don't really care. I want to get back to the Super Bowl.
All right. So with that being said, if you had to take over Dan O'Donis' shoes for a few minutes and kind of look at the schedule, where do you think we win? Where do you think we might lose?
I think we'll beat the Giants. I think we'll beat the Vikings. We'll beat the Cowboys. We'll beat the Bears. There'd be the 4 wins for sure. I don't think we'll beat the Rams. I am not sure about the Packers because that defense is really good. And who else am I missing? I'm missing one more, aren't I? Steelers. We'll beat the Steelers. Steelers are trash.
Okay.
We'll take 5 more.
And put us at 11. You know what? I think I'd like our chances. All right, Anthony. Let's get you out of here and on with the rest of your day. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everybody where they can find you, support your channel, and all your great content.
Yeah, like Dan says, you can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We're a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond. So if you want to come and check out your Lions news and views from a British perspective, then just drop on by and see us. We do game reviews on Mondays. We do game previews on Thursdays usually. I talk college ball on Wednesdays. So if you like college football, come chat with me on that. And we're live during the games as well. So just drop by, say hi. We love chatting to you all. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Thanks, Dan, as always. Thank you to the Jew crew. Have a wonderful week. No, it's not the easiest right now, but let's get this right. This season is far from over. This team is just going through a few growing pains right now. We're still in a good position. We've still got a lot of great players on this team. We're still going to kick a lot of ass this year. And yeah, there's still a lot to come yet. So it's disappointing from the other day, but let's keep our heads up. We're still going in the right direction.
The one thing I could say, and I'll leave you with this thought. If you want to throw anything at it, go for it. But it's just, being a long-suffering Lions fan for 40-plus years, here's what I can say. There's been a whole lot of down times in the lifetime I've watched this team. The fact that the last 5 years we're in the playoff hunt, Super Bowl hunt or whatever, I'll take it. I get we all want the Super Bowl. But, Anthony, at the end of the day, what do you think this team has to do to win the Super Bowl?
You need a bit of luck, a sprinkle of luck, a sprinkle of skill, mix it together in a cauldron and drink the magic potion. That's all it is. It's, you've got to try and stay reasonably healthy and hopefully with all the players coming back, we are going to be a very healthy team going into the back end of the season. So you're telling me if we can win it this year? Absolutely we can, because on our day when all 3 units of our team are performing well, they can beat any team in this league. You only need to be good for 4 games: wild card, divisional, championship game, Super Bowl. Screw the 17 games before that. You could scrape through. The Chiefs went through as a wild card a couple of years ago. They had to go on the road to Baltimore. They had to go on the road to Buffalo. They beat them both. They made the Super Bowl and they won it. You've only got to be good for 4 games. So until you're not good for those 4 games, there's no reason to panic at this moment in time. The Lions are going to be just fine. And let the Bears mouth off. They're playing a shit schedule. They get to play Mason Rudolph next week. When they've got to start playing a real schedule against real teams, then they'll discover what we're going through right now. So, let's keep the faith. We still believe in this project. And yeah, it doesn't matter until it gets to the playoffs. That's when the results start to matter.
All right. He is Anthony. Thank you for all your wisdom. Go find him on Roar of the Lions UK. Anthony, have a phenomenal day, and thanks for being a part of the Duke Crew today.
You all too. Take care, everybody. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Anthony. Let's get over to the comments section. We'll finish up the show here. We got about 8 minutes, so I'll power through as many comments as I can here. Ron, I do think Goodell tries to script games, and he tries to get the Chiefs into the playoffs. Probably accurate. Let's see, Chris Steele. You had gotten spoiled by the past few seasons. Exclamation point. You forgot about struggles, huh? I get it, man. And the only thing I can say is the Lions' biggest strength the last several years have been the offensive line. It's gone through some flux. We all get it. Goff, when he's got a clean pocket, looks one way. When he's, gets rattled, he's not the same quarterback. So Lions going to have to figure out how to get him right again. Steve, there's no such thing as an easy W's, especially for this year's Lions. That might be accurate. Miss Emily, Lions playing Stafford at Ford Field West. Ooh, I kind of like that one. Coach Rock, practice will be held outside in Michigan weather for the Teddy Bears. That's probably accurate. They will probably do that. I don't know if they did it last week. I didn't pay attention, but going into that final game of the regular season, yeah, they'll probably have 3 practices outdoor to try to get ready for Chicago in that game. Bert Goff has beat Green Bay in the cold weather when he already out of the playoffs. Not worried about Bears. That defense is atrocious. The Bears defense is not what it once was. I agree with you there, fully there, Donnie Burr. Steve, I would be Goff is terrible in cold and revenge games. That's the thing, Steve. I mean, he's definitely had some poor performances in the cold, but he's also had some very good performances. So kind of up and down. I don't know if there's a firm rule on him as of yet. Ludell, Lions going to lose at least 3 more games. That's 10-7 if they're lucky. All right. Well, if they lose 3 more, they've got 4 losses right now. That would be 7. Correct. Rich, MCDC needs to start giving Meeks a shot. That guy has already proven himself, and he is one of the most versatile in the team. Where's he proven himself? In the preseason? I mean, no offense. He's out there doing it against guys who aren't even in the NFL now. So we'll see if they do. I hope the kid does, though, prove himself, because, you know what? I like a lot of things about him. I think we both agree on that. Thomas, does no one understand the last game of the year will be Chicago's Super Bowl? It might be their opportunity to make the playoffs or, secure the NFC North. Oh, by the way, I see a minimum of 2 more losses. We will get in at 11-6. We shall see. Yeah, we will see, man. Ron, I think the MCDC needs to pay attention to how the game is going and not go for it on all the 4th downs where points are a premium. I think we would all agree with that there, Ron. Steve, 10-7 is realistic, not 12-5. All right, 12-5, so that would only be 1 more. But Dan O'Damas has spoken, or at least he phoned that in. Trim Reaper, I think the Detroit Lions want more to the Rams, but they will beat the Rams in Philly in the playoffs at ATW or Levi Stadium. We'll see if that shakes out. Broski Bear, Goff will need 2 gloves for that Week 18 game. He'll be double gloved. Maybe indeed. Let's see. Kerry, question is, can Caleb stay upright in the cold? I don't think so. Yeah, I haven't watched, Broski would have to talk about that. I haven't watched Caleb Williams in inclement weather enough. And being a USC fan, there ain't a whole lot of it out there. Of course, I guess that depends on your definition of, bad weather. Danica, double glove makes his hands bigger. Ooh, that's a hot take. Downbert, Detroit will just run the ball down Bears' throat as usual. No biggie. Silver Coach Dan Campbell was born on April the 13th. For what I have learned about people born on that day, they give their best when under duress. Let's believe. And I do believe in the team. So I'll believe in Dan Campbell. I'll say Mally, Ahmed Hassanin, he on the field with full of training gear up with all the ribs and technical training. That's more into the 53-man roster. We'll see if he does make the 53. Ludell, I'd bet Bears beat the Eagles. Wouldn't that be something? Flathead Frank, the Eagles came away the Eagles game comes W and asterisk because LaPorta didn't play. Lions need Joseph to create some turnovers. Yeah, if only they gave you asterisk wins. Raw Buzz, I don't see us losing any more games. Everyone on our schedule we match up well against. Hey, I like the way you're thinking. Big Belly Lou. If the Detroit Lions don't fix the interior of the offensive line, I don't see them making it into the playoffs. They're going to win some more games, but it's going to be tough. Yeah, we'll see what shakes out. I don't really know, Lou, what you can do at this point in the season to really, other than coach them up, right, to try to change the offensive line or any positional group. Thomas, we actually believe a rookie lineman who has missed the entire year is going to be a positive factor for this year's team. Love y'all, but put the ball down. Well, didn't you say the same thing about Christian Mahogany last year, Thomas? And Christian Mahogany played great last year, a late-round rookie who didn't play the entire season. So, history would suggest it has happened before. I also want to say you kind of said the same thing James Houston's rookie year. We all know that story. He, wasn't even part of the team, got cut from the team. Then his rookie year, he ended up with 8.5 sacks over the final 7 games. So, I mean, history does show it can happen. Mary, we're going to be Kings of the North again, so I'm saying we get 12 wins. I like the way you're thinking. Dolo, why hasn't Brad addressed the speedy kick return? That I don't know, unless you want to say Dominic Lovett, but you're going to have to give him a shot. Steve, this guy acting like Frazier will come in as an all-pro. Well, this guy is saying, I've heard he's doing very well. Now, Steve, I don't know how he's going to perform. Do you? If you do, you might want to put some money down on it in Vegas. Ludell, we should have kept Tanya for a tight end help. Maybe. Johnny Gas Sports, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew, exclamation point. Thomas, may I pray you are right, but I don't see it. I kind of already addressed this. We would have only one loss the ready of the year. All right, rest of the year, maybe. That's going to be tough. It would be tough, but you know what? I don't walk into any game thinking I'm going to lose. Maybe some do, but I do not. Xavier, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Exclamation point, back at you. Johnny Gas Sports, don't miss Dan on Johnny Gas Live tonight at 9:30. That's right. I will be a guest for the Gas Man this evening. Danica, 11-6 into LA and one random. It will be enough, though. I hope it will be enough. The Troy Maver, good morning, Johnny Gas. Brian, we got to play as if every game is a playoff game, and that's not good. We'll see how we do. That was Danica. I seen that also. Let's pray for 11-6. Ludell, make Vaki a tight end since he's likes to play both sides of the ball. Yeah, maybe they could do that. I don't know. Let's see, Don Burr, all Detroit has to do is beat the Giants, Green Bay, and Thanksgiving. And then we go to the Super Bowl talks. Super Bowl talk starts again, laughing out loud every year, exclamation point, the flip-flopping. There are some fans that, definitely go one way or the other from time to time. Server, here comes England. Here they do come. Hassani Madley, of course, Ahmed will be the only rotation of Coach Dan and see him ready. Yes, Coach Dan Campbell would have to see him ready. Brian, any worse than 5-2, we are cooked. I would agree with that. If we lose more than 2 games, probably the rest of the way, we're probably going to really struggle to get to the playoffs. That's up for us looking long-suffering Lions fans. We're losing week to week was all but expected. I almost don't know how to absorb what they've been able to do the past few years. Yeah, they've completely changed the expectations of the franchise around. Correct. The Term Reaper, see you there, Gasman. Kerry, Bears will suffer their worst loss of the season against the Eagles. That might be accurate. Ludell, Lions will be 6-6 after next 2. I'm not counting Giants as a sure thing. All right. You're definitely a glass is half empty type. Johnny Gas Sports, good morning, Trim. Thanks, man. Exclamation point. Motown Mitch Sewell got owned by Philly all night. He did not have his best game. I'll agree there. Dolo, Glasgow trash. Well, he may be the best one we have, though, unfortunately. Derek, Lions offensive line is like a box of chocolates. There you go. Ludell, start Kyle Allen against the Giants. All right, so take out your starting quarterback. Danica, the SS Lions are popular here in England. Okay. Randy, I think if when they see how much trouble moving the ball, should have punted more and tried field goals in the red zone. I think we all do that. Would probably agree with that, Randy. Hookadoo, I'm hoping for the best, Miss Hassing. I'd love to see that. Exclamation point. Trim Reaper, playoffs. How about that? Thomas, our offensive line is solid. It's hard to see that from right now, but we got away from who we are supposed to be. We were over 4 yards per carry. No, we were at 3.5 yards a carry. So we were over 4 last game, and we stopped doing it. Monty should have gotten 20 plus. All right. Let's see. Don Burr. Sewell is hurt and playing through pain. If you haven't noticed that, you're not paying attention. All right. Ryan. No, I think you look more at Zach Taylor of the Bengals. Okay, well, Zach Taylor indeed. Stephen, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew, and Coach Dan. Exclamation! I originally predicted that the Lions would win 14 games. Winning 12 games would be fantastic at this point. I'll go with that, 100%. And good morning to you. Dan, Lions learned from last year. Win at all costs, and when you get to the playoffs, too many people hurt and you lose. This year, keep them healthy, even if you don't get the number 1 seed. Yeah, they may be thinking about that. Then going to the playoffs, the Lions will win. I like the way you're thinking. Don Ludell with more silly takes. Hey, guys, let's start counting on. Yeah, I would not agree with that one. So, but hey, I will say is anybody who wants to make all the takes, get into coaching, and then you'll find out real quick. Every call you make, somebody's going to think opposite of you. You know what? At the end of the day, the only thing you do is look up the scoreboard and say I was right or wrong. Because at the end of the day, that's the one thing that stands out. Gary, one bad game doesn't dictate a season. That is correct. Motown Mitch, Frank Ragnow was a college guard first year was a guard for the Lions. Glasgow played center at Michigan. Shake my head. Thomas, we were outcoached again on Sunday night. We need to just admit that. I would agree on a certain level with that for sure. Brian, understand Brad all spring to get a center. Had all spring to get a center. Laughing out loud. The Dollar General store owner Brad. That might be accurate. Ludell, 40 carries against Philly would have helped balance between Monty and Gibbs. Monty was moving the pile. He did have a game, didn't he? Let's see, Dunk Kong, Super Bowl or bust next year when Bradley can fix the offensive line. All right, we'll see what shakes out. Mike K, Amon-Ra St. Drop. All right, he did have some drops. One-time Mitch, breaking news, Glasgow played center in Detroit before Ragnow. He did. Dunk Kong, I looked like Amon-Ra dropped like 70 balls, granted poorly thrown duck passes. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I know the weather wasn't great. Some of Goff's throws weren't great. We could all probably agree with that. All right, just a couple more, and I got to get out of here. We're already into overtime. Kerry, Little, that's the first statement I agree with. Steve, so the 5th-round rookie isn't coming in to save the day? Well, I mean, last year it happened with a 6th-round rookie, didn't it? Hot Mahogany. Let's see, Danica, yeah, but Ragnow ended up Pro Bowl center. All right, Kurt, Ant in the building? Yes, he was. Brian, Super Bowl or bust next year now? Hey, sometimes you got to change your opinion, right? Silver Server, with all these broski identities coming into the chat, I feel almost like an exorcist. He is good, though. I think I just saw the new one. It could be. Term Reaper, what up, Doe? Professor Steele, Raw Buzz. This is Mahogany's 2nd season, and he played about 8 games last year. He did play several, and he did have some elite grades last year. I think he played okay this year. But a lot of moving parts, right? Justin, our offensive line needs help, and hopefully Miles Frazier is that help that we need. Yes. I mean, sometimes I remember, and I get everybody's going to know this one, but I remember a 6th-round pick, rookie or 6th-round quarterback comes in and wins a Super Bowl for the New England Patriots. I remember a cut 6th-round running back coming in and winning was the MVP of the Super Bowl for the Denver Broncos repeatedly. And you could go on throughout history. Donkey, I think Mahogany played like 2.5 games last year. Maybe, I think it might have been 4, but don't hold me to that, Donkey. Thomas, agree, love Frazier, but to believe he's going to be a positive factor in his rookie year with no training camp and 0 reps in game, the time situation, put the ball down, walk away. Thomas, here's what I'd say. You're rude, and I'm going to say this. You tell me what's going to be right and wrong. I tell you what, Thomas, you are so Debbie Downer in here every day. It just is what it is, man. I guess look at all the Lions players that I think he's had the same thing about St. Brown. How could a late round pick come in and do anything for the Detroit Lions this rookie year? He had a pretty good end of his year. So what I would say, Thomas, is I don't know what he's going to do. I do know he's got the potential to do it. Jeremy Raver, good morning, Ant-Man. Brock, right. I'll go with that. Silver said Rock. Danica, miracles happen, Thomas. Oh, not to us, though. According to him, that is correct. See, note, coach, greetings, salutations. Defense keeps us in need the O to win it. I like the way you're thinking. All right, guys, I've given you about 4 extra minutes. I got to get ready for work. Apologies for that. Sorry I couldn't get through more of the comment section. I'll try to do better next time. So anyways, I get some of you Debbie Downers. That's just the way you view life. That's how you want to look at the sky's falling all the time. That's up to your prerogative. I'm positive Pete. I'm always got a chance to win. I don't care if I'm favored to lose by 10,000. I'm going to go out and try to win it. So that's just how I'm wired, I guess. Anyways, if you would be so kind before departing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for someone you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you guys all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.